Well, it's old J Snip to the fourth power here. And there is a kind of a blog website, keeptalkinggreece.com. Ever since Greece got into its financial problems, bailouts, austerity, people can't afford freaking bread, massive lines to ATMs trying to get, you remember they had little limits of cash you could withdraw. But you haven't heard a whole lot about Greece these days. And it's interesting because you remember when they used to have this dog that was out there with the people. They're throwing Molotov cocktails at the police. The police are throwing stuff back. And, back when the big protests were happening a few years ago. And this dog was out there with the people. It was like following the people around like it was their mascot. It was crazy. It was funny. And they named the dog Riot Dog. Riot Dog. And I remember seeing this dog out there with the people. It was the funniest thing. But where are all the protests anymore? Where's make a big loud noise, nothing happens. Okay. Everybody just gives up, I guess, right? So there's two stories I want to read you on this one website. So this will just be in this one video. One of them about Greeks not even being able to afford an extremely inexpensive loaf of bread. Wait till you hear how much it costs. But first, I see this headline, and they're talking about what's happening, but they're getting it from the news as well, mainstream news. And you'll remember Cyprus. That was the first country they did the bail-in. They took the people's money, who had above and beyond what the insurance of the banks, like FDIC insurance we have here in this country. They have something similar in those other countries, Western countries, EU, etc. And if you're above and beyond that, you got a little haircut. Now, I'm not sure what the number was or what the exact terms were for Cyprus, but they got bailed in, these banks. So it says EU court landmark decision opens door for legal cases by EU citizens in bailout countries. So on the surface, as I was reading this, I said, well, that's interesting. The club, these are all unelected officials, including the European Court, the EU, European Union Court to be specific. So what does that mean? Oh, they're allowing the sheeple to file suits against countries in the EU that receive bailout money? I said, that just doesn't sound right. So as I started reading this article, I found a few things that stuck out at me. And that's actually why I wanted to do this video, comment on this. An important decision for the protection of human rights in times of bailouts and austerity. For the first time, the European Court of Justice explicitly stated that the European institutions, and in particular, the European Commission, are bound by the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights and are obliged to protect the individual and social rights of EU citizens. In the specific legal case, several Cypriot citizens and one company based in Cyprus claimed compensation for the private deposit haircuts in Cyprus in the year 2013. The court dismissed their claims for compensation. Keyword, they get nothing back. However, it ruled that the EU is obliged to protect the rights of its citizens, thus opening the doors for more legal cases. But it dismissed their case about saying, give me my money back. I won. Give me my money. You what? I lost. Oh. According to the court ruling, the haircut of private deposits was legal. So let's reread that. Stealing your money was legal, as the terms for the financing or bailout of Cyprus some come from the European Stability Mechanism. The Cypriot plaintiffs, several individuals and one company, had the right to claim compensation from the EU institutions, the European Commission and the European Central Bank, as they participate in the ESM programs, which is the European Stability Mechanism, as they call it, without losing their obligations towards member states under the EU fundamental treaties. However, assessing the compensation claims, the court ruled that the claims must be rejected, since the signing of memorandum of understanding, i.e. bailout, for Cyprus was in the context of the public interest as aimed by the EU. The European Court ruled also that the haircut of private deposits did not violate the right to property, as it did not, quote, disproportionately and unacceptably interfere with the substance of depositors' private or property rights. So let's read those last two key paragraphs. Assessing the compensation claims, the court ruled that the claims must be rejected since the signing of a simple memorandum of understanding. Did you guys pass a law? No. Do you guys have some kind of constitution you follow? Kind of, yeah. Did your lawmakers in your country vote on something? No. Because we don't really do that. We let the European Union do what they want. They're essentially our lawmakers. And all they had to come up with was a memorandum of understanding. Could you imagine giving it the name? We're going to create a memorandum today, folks. It's going to be called the Memorandum of Understanding. So while you're at work, working your slave ass off, unelected officials are deciding we're going to steal that poor son of a bitch's money. That poor SOB. Really? You being at work, not watching news every single day, and even if you did, they're not telling you a lot of what's happening anyways. Find out there's been a large withdrawal in your account, and it doesn't even say anything in the statement. Just yesterday I had such and such, and today it's not. And there's no entry in my accounting here on my end. Let me call the bank. Can you tell me what happened? Yes, sir. Our European masters, known as the European Union, or European Commission, passed what they call, actually they didn't pass it because they didn't have to vote on it, they just do it. It's called a memorandum. And specifically the Memorandum of Understanding is what they've termed it. And in the memorandum, they now allow insolvent banks to take money out of account holders who have more than the insurance claim is for. So if our bank failed and there's $150,000 in there, you're covered. But if you got more than $150,000, you're screwed. And again, I don't know what the actual limit was, to be honest with you. I know ours in America was 150 or what was it, 100,000, 150,000 at one point. Then after 2008, remember that at one point they guaranteed all of it. All deposits in America, they're all covered, all of them. There's no limit. Because so much money was being flooded outside of America, just exiting in droves. To stop the flow of funds out of the country, we said all money is guaranteed, FDIC insured, temporarily. And then about 2 years or so, a year to 2 years later, they kind of you didn't hear about it in the news, just stealthily, okay, we're going back the way it was, so I think it's now $250K per account in America. So imagine you've done something, you've created some business, it's fantastically successful, you got 5-6 mil in the bank. Life is good. Kids have everything they need. Yeah, in this case, you want to go to college, we ain't gonna worry about, we'll pay for that cash. Kids, go ahead, you might as well get it. House paid off, car, living nicely, very comfortable. And then all of a sudden, $5 million in the bank. You look, and you have $250,000 now in the bank. $5 million yesterday, $250K today. I'll tell you, it amazes me, and maybe this happened, we just didn't hear about it because it's Cyprus and, international news, we may not hear it. But I kind of think I know what people in America would do if something like that happened to them. They would be out for blood. Somebody who lost all of that, worked so hard to get that in the bank, and then lost it because memorandum of understanding took place. No one voted on it. This third party that's not even elected created this, and now it's legal. And the third party's court system that they also created says, yeah, it's legal. Memorandum was written, it's legal, so you can't get your money back. You can't sue them for that. That's why we're throwing the case out. But you do have rights per the referendum we've had over these years, you do have rights to sue these entities for other reasons. Not that reason. Not that reason, bozo. Other reasons. Excuse me, that's really the only reason I'd ever want to sue them. For stealing from me. But you can't. That one's off limits. Sorry about that. What amazes me is I never heard of anybody in Cyprus going into a bank or finding the CEO of one of these banks, waiting for him outside, walks up with a gun, boom. And then maybe boom to their own head because they just realized my entire livelihood was just flushed down a toilet because you stole the money from me. And I'm left with $250K. Again, that's assuming that's what they had. They may have had less than that, 100,000, 150, or 150 euros, 150K. So, landmark decision my ass is what I'm saying. And on to this other story, again, completely related to Greece. Some Greeks cannot afford even a loaf of bread. Bakers in Kozani unite to help them. Like the other day, I said, hey, can you guys join my kids' channel? I just need a bunch of subscribers real quick. JSNIP4 subscribers, unite. In this case, Greek bakers of Kozani, unite. Did you know that there are people in Greece who cannot, again, so we're not even talking about Cyprus anymore, per se. This is like specifically the whole country of Greece. And I realize, Cyprus, Greece, people cannot afford to buy a loaf of bread, even at a cost of 60 to 70 cents in euros. But again, 60 to 70 cents. Would you like to go to a store around here, Publix or wherever you're from, whatever good grocery store you go to, even Walmart, anywhere? A regular loaf of bread. Are you going to buy that loaf of bread for 50, 60, 70 cents? Not a chance in hell. But again, the bakers unite. We are here to help people. 50 cents a loaf. There's a little problem with that, though. I'll get to that. Almost a year after Greece surrendered into the arms of the international lenders and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the austerity cuts started to affect people's lives, a bakery in our neighborhood was offering bread, a specific bread that they would make, at a special price for pensioners and unemployed. Keep those two words in mind as America goes down, down, baby, your street in a Range. Pensioners and the unemployed, they're going to go hand in hand. The special price was just half a euro. At one point, I remember that more and more people were going to this bakery and asking for bread from the previous day for a couple of cents or even free of charge. 2 days ago, the grim Greek reality hit me again. I was at the bakery sometime at noon. All kinds of different bread loaves were waiting for customers, nicely set in order, one by one, next to each other. Yet somewhere in a corner at one of the lower shelves, there was a group of breads. Could we call that a flock of breads? There was a flock of breads, several loaves, long and round, white and whole wheat, a couple of baguettes. What are these? I asked the baker, and he answered, this is bread from yesterday, for the poor. We give it free of charge. He told me further that he had 6 to 7 returning customers who come every second day for the bread from yesterday. Mostly elderly pensioners, and maybe 2 to 3 people per day. Additional. People he does not know who just step in and ask for old bread for free. The problem of poverty is not widespread only in Athens, where the cost of living is much higher than in the countryside. Today, I read about the action of the Bakers Association in Kozani, in northern Greece. Customers can buy extra bread for those in need, while the bakers will keep records of the bread on the waiting list, if you will, as they call their action, and give it to those who can't afford it. Sir, you're well off today. You're buying bread. Would you care to, in America, you go into Publix. Sir, would you like to give $1 or $2 to the Cancer Foundation, Cancer Research Center? No, I don't want to fund these billion-dollar corporations that don't do anything to help cure cancer. Thanks. No thanks. That's what we get in our lines here. We go to the grocery store. You want to give the Cancer Fund? Yeah. No thanks. That's kind of like a Hillary Clinton Foundation 5% of the proceeds actually go somewhere. $50 million out of $90 million. Other expenses. Clinton Foundation. Other expenses. The next massive lion's share, salaries, payroll. And this little speck of sand over here on the end, that's where we give to the needy stuff that the foundation is supposed to do. Anyways. Sure. I'm not going to ask, in Greece, I'm not going to ask you if you want to give to the Cancer Foundation. We got enough problems of our own at the moment. People are dying of starvation. Cancer doesn't have time to catch up to them, actually. They were dying earlier. Would you mind? You got us a couple extra dollars? We're going to put it in this fund, and it's only like 50, 60 cents per loaf. And there's a lot of people, elderly, pensioners, those kinds. And they could use oh, absolutely. For the island of Crete, I will do this. Yes, here you go. Where was I? The action slogan, buy a loaf of bread or a bagel and it will wait for someone in real need. All 26 bakeries have joined the action, the chairman of the association, Dimitris Leotis, told the press. That's funny, the government's not stepping in to help. It's other businesses. So, you hear me doing these videos all the freaking time about the pensions in America. It's like one story after the other. And as I did that one the other day where these, again, government employees with their pensions, they have this really interesting system that the last year you're actually employed before you retire. You save up all your vacation you can. You save up everything you can to get paid on, every bonus you can possibly get. You wait for it the very last year you're working. You get all the side jobs. You get everything you can get to earn the most income that year possible. And it's your highest earning income year ever, of course. Which then tells the pension system, once you do retire the year after that, this was their final income earned. And the system says whatever the highest amount you made, you get this percentage, etc. And these people were walking away with 80% higher salaries than they were during public service. Their normal paycheck. Getting 80% higher, 50% higher, on the lower side, 30% more. So in other words, 130%, 180% total, if you will. So when those people are in the breadlines and they game that damn system and this crap comes here, I got to be honest, don't feel sorry for you, not even a little bit. The old retirees with their pensions, I do feel sorry for you a lot. I hope you guys have a plan, those of you who rely on your pensions. So goes Cyprus, so goes Greece, so goes the rest of the world. It's only a matter of time because we all have the same exact problems and they're solvable the same way. Didn't say the way was great or the right way of doing it. I just said it's solvable and the club will solve it the way they always solve it. They will keep taking from you, cutting jobs, cutting services, more austerity, and they gut these countries, privatize everything, sell everything out that's worth anything in the country off to the highest bidder, their club members. And the highest bidder, by the way, is actually getting a fire sale, of course, because the country's in debt, terrible rating. These assets aren't worth as much as they used to be. Here's what we'll pay you for them. And then you have the crooked politicians who say, well, we have to do this. We don't want to, we have to. And guys like me sit back and say, well, I'm already doing the math before you even talked about this stuff happening, selling off stuff. The first loan they gave us, I said it then, it can't be paid back. It's only going to put more debt on top of our debt load that couldn't be paid back. So we had original debt load that can't be paid back on top of a new debt load with the old debt load that can't be paid back. Austerity is off the table. Bankruptcy is on the table. Bankruptcy it is. Restructure. Bankers get nothing. F off. Oh, no. Jay Snap, the bankers don't F off. As you can see who's effing off, it's the old timers, the pensioners, the ones who are suffering the most. They cannot press the do-over button. They cannot press start again, reset. There's nothing they can do now. There's nothing they can do now. They're just in deep trouble. You still have time. You've had time for the last several years, easily, to start stacking up on your precious metals. Think about if you bought 1 ounce of silver a month. But for the last several years. Well, there's 12 months in a year. That would be 12, 24, right? I mean, you could easily have 100 ounces easily. That's just 1 ounce a month. That's nothing. How about maybe you could afford 5 ounces? Let's average it and say it's $20 an ounce. That's $100, an additional $100 a month, going on for years. Maybe you can't afford it. I'm just throwing a number out there. The low end's 1, the higher end's 5 a month. 5 a month, on the other hand, that means the 100-ounce example I gave you just became 500 ounces. Wouldn't you like to have a cool 500 ounces of silver sitting there saying, when this baby goes, I don't even care about my pension now, because when this baby goes, it's going to make my pension look like child's play, because they're going to destroy your pension in the process. Anyways, this is what the countries of the world have to look forward to. Right there. What a shame. As George Bush said to the lady working 3 jobs, I have to work 3 jobs to make ends meet. Truly American. Truly American. Like it was some kind of compliment. Like, you are a tough lady. Good job. No, dumbass. She's telling you, I gotta work 3 jobs. It's killing me. I'd like to be able to work 1 freaking job and make ends meet. I can't. That's the point. Oh, yeah. Nice one, Georgie. Take care.